Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to a Deadman video. Now, I don't think many people expected me to make any Deadman content, but something I had a lot of fun with last year that I'm going to try to replicate today is flipping in Deadman mode. Now, the essence of Deadman mode is PvP combat, nowhere is safe, you're always risking your account, but we're going to subvert that by never leaving the Grand Exchange. Essentially, I'm just going to go to the Stronghold of Security, grab my 10,000 GP, and see what we can get done with it. Now this year there are a few more mechanics to spice up the entire game, but also flipping. Now the biggest one being the new sigils. They are tradable and sellable on the Grand Exchange, and could potentially be a good source of money once we've grown our cash stack. Now this year I'm actually going to try swapping the money after to see how much we actually make in old school. So we have 15 minutes of safety, so let's pop over to the Stronghold of Security, get our 10,000 coins, and see what we can do. If you like the idea of me flipping in Deadman mode more, leave a like in the video, and maybe we'll do a part 2. So we made it over to the Stronghold of Security, no issues. We got our 10,000 coins. It's actually quite easy because you start with tuna in Deadman mode, as well as we're protected from any PvP for a fair chunk of time, enough for us to get that money. Now it looks like there are a few trade restrictions on certain items. All the starter items there are trade restrictions on, and I think that's because you get these back if you die 3 times, so they didn't want the market to be flooded. Regardless though, we should be able to flip pretty much anything else. So the tournament started around 3 or 4 hours ago, so it's still very fresh. And when there's a brand new economy, you really have to be careful what items you're flipping. We kind of have to think critically what is actually going to be in the economy at this point. And we're going to be watching some live streams on the side of Deadman content just to see how far people are along. Now, last time I tried this, I started with items like the Dorgish Khan crossbow, the Staff of Fire, stuff like that, and that can work. So for our very first item here, let's try out the Staff of Fire. 1,300 it's buying for, and we sold it for 900, so already a really good margin on that of 400 GP, not a bad start. Now keep in mind, for every 10,000 GP right now I earn in Deadman mode, I'm going to be making around 1.5 mil OSRS, so all of these flips are worth way more. Now, one item I actually didn't do last time, but I think could be really good, are Dragon Bones. They have the benefit of both being something people are farming early, as well as an item that people will want to buy to train their prayer in the early game, so there should be a lot of movement, both buying and selling, and right now there's around an 80 GP margin, and we should be able to just flip these back and forth constantly until we have a solid amount of money. So pretty much on these 6 Dragon Bones, we're making 50k old school RuneScape, so this should be probably some of the easiest money in the entire game. Okay, so things are going pretty well. I went ahead and ran through on a alt account. By alt account, I mean my main, of course, but we have another 10k coming in here. Now, one kind of interesting mechanic I have to keep in mind is I don't believe you can trade sigils unless you're in one of the higher total level worlds, which means if I want to flip sigils, I'll need to level up my combat on some account. It shouldn't take too long to get into one of those level worlds, so I might try to do that on the side while I start flipping these initial items and make a bit of money. Right now, we're mainly flipping Dragon Bones and Staffs of Fire. Super cheap items right now. And I'll try to earn maybe my first 10k just with these items. Alright, so far I've just been flipping the Dragon Bones. I mean, they're working really well. We've already made 7,500 GP. Doesn't sound like a lot, but for the first couple hours of Deadman mode, that's pretty much another Stronghold of Security run just like that. Currently we're making around 15k per hour. The price is moving a lot right now, but that's to be expected. Okay, so we're still flipping the Dragon Bones. Right now, we're getting around a 200 GP margin. They jumped up to 905 into 1,000. We're just going to be patient because it's too volatile to really say one way or another if that price is going to stick. But so far, we've already made 21k just flipping Dragon Bones. I've been kind of experimenting with some other things, but not too much luck yet. But I am looking out for some other items. Okay, so there's a sigil up here in my sigil slot, so we can go ahead and pick one. Unfortunately, I don't think we can sell it. Now, the real question is which one of these are going to be valuable, or are any of them going to be valuable? Essentially, they're just a ranging, melee, or magic sigil. Let's just take the fighter sigil. And if you look up sigil, there are quite a lot of them. It could be a little while until some of these higher level ones are in the game. So maybe I'll start training my other account. Alright, so I'm experimenting with another item here, and that would be the Uncut Sapphire. The margin is insane right now. I'm not really sure how many people need to buy this item, and we're gonna go price check it again. Still going for 1,800. Might be a bit of a slow seller, but the margin's really good. Now, I think I just realized that I don't actually need to train up another account. I believe you're only restricted from selling the initial tier 2 sigils you get. So one of the 3 you start with, the ones you get from drops I think are fair game. The reason that measure is in place is so you don't purposely die. So I think we should be free to flip most of these here. That said, I have no clue what any of these are worth, what tiers they're even in. So we're going to try to do a little research maybe on the wiki, maybe put a few cheeky offers in and see what happens. Okay, so I'm trying to branch out into a few new items. Super restores are incredibly cheap right now, only going for 1,500 each. There's about a 500 GP margin on them, which is absolutely insane. We're going to try buying some brews as well. I have no idea what those are going for. Still, a vast majority of the money we've made is from Dragon Bones, but we're going to try to change that pretty soon here. Okay, so Ceridome brews are looking really nice right now. They're kind of all over the place. I bought some at 2,600, 3,500, but right now we're getting pretty damn close to a 1,000 GP margin, so that is pretty solid. Alright, so after around an hour and a half, looks like we finally reached around 100k. If we just go ahead and board all these offers, 102k, so that's pretty damn good. I don't know how much that's worth right now. It might be worth somewhere between 10 and 15 mil, but that's no fun. Let's just keep going, of course. Now, I noted the prayer potion has a really good margin on it, and that should be fairly in demand right now. I'm kind of having a bit of an issue finding items that are in demand at this exact point in the tournament. That's going to shift really quickly all the time. For example, not that many people are buying brews right now. What the? The price of brews are all over the place. That's pretty damn insane. That said, we're going to try to buy some for 1,000. I think it's time for some more tea. Okay, now I think we found a good selection of in-market items right now. We're doing Dragon Bones, Prayer Potions, and Ceridome brews. We put a cheeky offer in for just a random sigil on the bottom here. It's way too early for there to be enough supply for any of these sigils, but we're still going to put a cheeky offer in. Oh my god, there's a lot going on right now. Currently, we're flipping brews for almost 1,000 each. That's very good. Let's pop that up to maybe an offer for 20. The Dragon Bones, once again, are just going for just a very consistent margin. 200 GP almost. And the Prayer Potions are also very good at around 150. So I went ahead and read through all of the sigils. Unfortunately, there isn't a Grand Exchange sigil or anything like that. Not sure what that would be exactly. There are a ton of them though, so it's going to be kind of hard to know which one to go for. Hopefully we'll figure it out eventually though. Well, that's pretty messed up. Renar Reeds are going for 150 each. You can make some pretty solid bank if you're just making prayer potions right now. The clean one is going for 45 each. That's gotta be too low. Okay, I have a couple interesting things going on here. First up, I was able to buy some Morgan's javelins for 4,000 each. Kind of thought they'd be more expensive than that, but I mean, we're gonna make 5k on them hopefully. Now, an item that is really in demand right now is actually the rune arrow. Look how much more it's going for in Deadman mode. We're buying them for around 300 and selling them for 500, so an absolutely giant margin on the rune arrow. So we're making really good progress here. Right now, I've not had any success on more expensive items. The resource items seem to be the most in demand, with the best potential profit. Okay, so we're well over 200k earned already, and we're moving on to a couple new items here. Stamina potions have been really good for us right now. We're buying them for 1,600. And we're getting a very solid margin on it. We're also looking into the rune scimitar, getting roughly a 3.5k margin on those as well. Rune items that you can't easily buy at the shop have really good margins right now. So right now I think we're at around 220k pure cash. And our hourly profit has started to go up. We were hovering around 30 or 40k for a long time. Now we're up to almost 70k per hour. And that's our average over, I guess, 3 hours now. But of course we gotta keep going. Okay, so we have a couple interesting things going on here. First, let's just deal with these offers because they're stressing me out. Still getting really good margins on the Stamina Potion and the Dragon Bones. Stamina Potion is now my second best item after the Dragon Bones, of course. Okay, so one thing you might have noticed is actually in the corner, we ended up instantly buying a Sigil of Enhanced Harvest. Let's see if it'll go for a 10k margin. Actually, about 4k. Now, I don't know how common the sigil is going to be coming through, but let's try to buy 2 of them. And yeah, it looks like this could be a good time to switch over to some of the sigils. Probably just going to be doing tier 1s. I'm going to read through them again to try to find out which ones might be more desirable than others, at least in the beginning. Well, I did end up buying my first sigil. It did take quite a while, but man, we can probably make hopefully 5k on this or something like that. I was hoping it'd be a little quicker than that because that's not that impressive compared to any of these resource items even. But of course, there are a lot of other sigils out there, so maybe I'll try some other ones. Oh, well, okay, that actually didn't take very long. We sold it for, I guess, a 3.5k profit. Pretty good. Once you start really coming into the game quicker, I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made here, and that's definitely a pretty good start. Now, so far I've had moderate profits on some of the sigils. For example, we made around 5k on the sigil of the gnomes. Now, I did end up buying a sigil of the elves for 100k. Now, I don't know how much I can sell this for or how much I could buy another one for. The main issue I'm running into is people aren't often selling these sigils right now. If they get one, they're just kind of keeping one for the tournament. This might get a bit better later on, but for now, it's a bit challenging. Okay, so we ended up losing almost 30k on the sigil of the elves. It just wasn't selling, and there was a lot of money to have held up an item I was just trying to break even on, so I wanted to sell it back quickly. Unfortunately, probably my biggest loss of this entire video so far, but we're still over 300k in profit. Okay, so a little bit later, and we're already up to 350k in profit. Again, we've kind of continued to flip the sigil of the gnomes, a cheaper one, and I kind of know what the margin is roughly. Honestly, I think the best strategy for flipping sigils is just going to be to lowball a few offers in the corner and see if you can get lucky. We're now up to around 100k per hour hourly profit, and that's averaging out over the now 4 hours that we've been flipping for. So if the swap rate is still leaving around the 1 to 100 ratio, that means we're making around 10 mil per hour swapping in Deadman mode. And I'm really curious to know how this would have gone if I, for example, had like 100k to start. How much quicker would this have been? Would it be worth swapping money to Deadman mode just to flip and swap it back? It's hard to say. Maybe if I bought people's 10k from the Stronghold of Security right away, spent like 100 mil old school, maybe I could have made even more money, but it would have been more of a risk. And it was kind of fun to start with just 10k anyway. So after around 4.5 hours of flipping, we finally crested the 500k mark. So we're up to a half a mil. And you can see how much money is just from Dragon Bones, almost half of it just straight up from Dragon Bones, which is crazy. 240k from that. So we're going to end our session at 530k in profit, which means with the 20k we started, we're ending the day at 550k in profit. Now, I think it's going to be worthwhile for me to just swap the money now. I thought about keeping a bit to try to continue flipping tomorrow, but if I get a fair bit of support on this video, I'll just go ahead and swap back some gold. I'll probably end up coming out ahead because the swap rates will be so much less tomorrow anyway. So let's go ahead and swap the gold off, see how much money we get for it, and then I'll cover all of the item profit per item just to see what worked the best. Now, because I know people are going to ask, I used alk.com to swap Deadman mode to old school RuneScape. Not sponsored in any way, but I have used them twice and it was pretty quick, and they didn't scam me, so I quite appreciate that. So in the end, I ended up swapping 550k Deadman for almost 70 mil old school, which means I was making around 12 or 13 mil per hour flipping in Deadman mode, making it one of the best money makers in the game. Now, by and large, my most profitable item was Dragon Bones, bringing in nearly half of the total profit at 240k. After that, Stamina Potions were my next best at around 140k in profit. Brews came in third at around 66k, and then Prayer Potions and Super Restores. Everything after that just really didn't work that well, and I think that was mainly because we're talking about day one here. The only notable sigil to do well for me was the sigil of the gnomes. The rest of them didn't really net me much money or even lost me money. And in the end, it ended up at a profit of 110k per hour, which is pretty good for a brand new fresh economy. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do want to see part 2, let me know with a comment down below, like in the video. Again, if I get some support, I'll go ahead and just buy some more Deadman gold and see what we can do tomorrow. Maybe if I buy 2 or 3 mil, we can just make an absolute bank and swap it back for more money, but it'll be a bit more risky. Thanks for watching guys, as always, and I will see you next time. Now, before I go here, I want to give a massive thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Guy Fox, Wolf of the Hunt, Timothy Chen, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. Always appreciate you guys. Thanks again so much. Also, a giant thank you to CJ Ruse, Mexos, Bratton Graffin, NDM1, Yo-Yo Sub 89, and Base Titch for all being subscribed at the Runite tier. Again, means a lot guys, always appreciate it. And of course, thank you to anyone else supporting me in one way or another. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is a great way to do so. You can become immortalized in all of my future videos, get access to my video release schedule, and of course, get a custom role in my Discord server. Thanks again guys, and I will see you next time.